You've tuned in to the BAM Pod, brought to you by Black Bear Diner, Chicken Ranch Casino Resort, Mercury Marine, Vexus Boats, StoreQuest Storage Solutions, Bass Boat Technologies, and Tackle Warehouse. Now, kick back and enjoy the next great episode of the BAM Pod.
Ever struggled to navigate shallow waters without damaging your boat? Realize your boat's potential with outboard motor performance products from Bob's Machine, an award-winning world leader in the marine industry since 1978. With over 45 years of dedication to quality, Bob's Machine offers innovative hydraulic transom jack plates and accessories for your boat.
All right, welcome in everybody to the BAM Pod. I'm your host, Big Ed, and on the line tonight, I have got the man that went to the middle of nowhere, Brownlee Reservoir, and brought home the championship trophy, Mr. Rich Kraft. Rich, welcome into the show, man.
Hey, what's up, Big Ed? Glad to be here, man. This is pretty awesome.
Dude, I wasn't up there. I can't believe I told you a little earlier. I was a little offended. I had my injury. I went down, and what do? You rise up and win this thing without me. It's a little insulting. That's all right. I still like you for it all.
Yeah, we'll get the next one at Tri-Cities.
There we go. I'll be up there for that one. So we'll be back up there making this thing roll again. But dude, you went out there and had a great tournament. You didn't quite lead wire to wire, or did you? I couldn't get to watch the whole thing. I know you were leading after day two.
Yep.
Day three, you ended up taking it. Were you leading on day one?
I was not. Nick Wood dropped a bigger bag than me, and I was second on weight on day one.
Second on weight on day one, which leads us into a great thing. We talk about going up to Brownlee, which you told me, I've really never fished there. I went there for practice or went there for the one, the day of, and that was it. You get out on this body of water, and we put together here at BAM, we put this schedule, I don't want to say the schedule. We put together this tournament format. This tournament format is you've got two ways to get to Championship Sunday. You've got numbers overall, and you've got weight. And a lot of guys, we talked about this a little bit before the show, that there were guys doing 90 fish, 80 fish, 60 fish, and it's like, holy moly, they were on them. And it was kind of interesting was guys like Ken Mall were catching them, and he was doing some really, I think even Mark said it, he was doing more largemouth fishing styles and techniques on smallmouth waters. Brownlee's kind of known for being a smallmouth fishery, but you went out there, caught these fish, and you just stayed with weight. And I want to break that down a little bit. First we want to talk about how you were catching your fish, and then we're going to talk about how you decided to stick with weight. So let's talk about that first. Let's talk about how'd you go out there and catch these fish, and were you just I'm going to go after smallmouth and this is how I'm going to target them, or were you just kind of going for whatever bit?
Well, to me, largemouth wasn't even part of the game. Smallmouth only. The only research I did was on Google Earth. You go back in historical images, and there's a couple of good shots of the reservoir being low. So I had tons of waypoints of all the rock piles and structures. So where I started, I was like, man, that's an amazing smallmouth spot. And I get up there and I drop the trolling motor, start looking around on live scope, and it's like a trillion carp everywhere. You can tell that it's a carp because of the way they swim. And, hour passed by, nothing. And then I was like, all right, well, I'm going to lock the top water in my hand and started fishing around, fishing a couple points, like really steep bluff points. And I got bit. And I was like, it just clicked on me. Oh, we have a lake up here, Lake Roosevelt. And you fish bluffs with a top water and you cast it an inch from the bluff wall, 2 twitches, and the smallmouth destroy it. And wow. It just clicked. And I was like, that's what I'm doing. And I scrapped all my waypoints and found a bluff wall and went down it and got 15 pounds off of it. Wow. Within like an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Okay.
So, yeah. And then I kind of just started running that pattern, and I went down this one steep bank. I believe I'm the only documented largemouth catch for the tournament. It was a Lone Ranger sitting on a rock steep bank, and I couldn't believe it. It was over 14 inches. So wow. I think I got that record, but maybe Mark can confirm that later. And
you want another special trophy for that?
No, I'm good. I'm good. Like, yeah, I'm good. So then I came out of that pocket, went across to a point, and just started looking for deeper fish because it was 1 o'clock. The topwater kind of died. Typically, Lake Roosevelt, you can throw topwater all day and you can smash them, get a 20-pound bag, pretty simple doing that stuff. Went over to a point, and then I saw tons and tons of bait set up on this long tapering point, and I threw a drop shot in the middle of it and caught my big fish. It was a 492. First cast in it, and then
Wow.
second cast in it, I got a 375. So those two fish right there put me over 18 pounds. And I was like, all right, well, I kind of got a good game plan.
Hmm.
So that was day one. And I
Nice.
weighed 18. I already got 1834, I think, on day one.
Okay.
Um, day two, well, day one, the
What?
weather was perfect, overcast skies, no wind. It was like perfect topwater conditions. Day two, we got some good winds blowing up the canyon, and which is interesting because the blast off was glass, and you go a mile up the river, and it was like white caps coming at you.
Wow.
It's an interesting place, and it has all these turns and stuff, and just the wind just funnels down certain valleys of that canyon.
Hmm.
So I go to my topwater area, and it's just blowing right into the side of it, and I got a couple, but there was nothing happening to that. So um, I kind of just started fishing around and scraped together. And I had a mindset going into day two, since I had such good weight. Besides Nick Wood, I had a 2 pound lead over the third place weight guy. And I was like, well, if I just get 15 pounds, I think I'll be good. And then I can stop fishing and I can practice and get ready for the championship day. And that's kind of what I did. Once I got to 15 pounds, I just kind of put a top water in my hand. I just started working a bank and just looking on live scope left and right. And I came across a piece of structure. A little bit later in the story, my marshal on day three told me what it was after I weighed in and when I won. But I'll get to that on day three talks.
Okay. Okay.
So I look over, had tons of fish on it, bait fish again, just like the other point setup. And I flip a drop shot over in there, and bam, got another big fish. It was like a 375, and that put me up over 16 pounds on day two.
Wow.
So, and then I just started looking. I just started going down the bank, looking on live scope for something like a piece of structure, a boulder, something that had bait set on it. And and so about 1 o'clock I started practicing, and I mean that was the move of the tournament because
Hmm.
on day three I didn't start there, but I got my entire bag, 4 fish out of the 5 off that spot, and then the fifth fish came off a point about 100 yards like south of it. So within 100 yards, I caught my entire bag there for the final day, which gave me was it 1826 for the win.
Nice. It's one of the difficult parts about this whole, I guess, format is, were you seeing, day three, it doesn't matter because that goes back down to zero, but day one, day two, you're looking at this weight, and at any point were you struggling at all? I mean, was it like, what, I just had fish going all day long and they were just quality fish, or were you at some point looking at it going, maybe I should switch the numbers?
No. So funny story. My rookie season was last year for BAM. I got accepted because there's one requirement was the career earnings. So
Mm.
that's how I got in, for my resume to get in. And so I went into it last year. I was like, man, I can catch fish. I can put numbers up, and I kind of was mediocre all season. So going into the 26th season, my teammate up here, Doug, he's like, you gotta stop doing that. You just got to go for the big fish, and come in the 5 biggest fish. And so that was my mentality going into this year in Lake Havasu. I finished 13th place there. Had some decent fish on that. So that's kind of my the whole 2026 season is going to be based off on big fish. I'm not I numbers killed me last year, and how these guys were putting up big numbers like you're saying, like 40, 50, 60 fish a day is just, it's unreal. Because I think day one, when I was really catching them, I only caught 17,
Well,
and then day two I only caught 8. I mean, I didn't fish hard. I kind of got off the throttle there once I got what I thought I needed. And then the final day, if we had to count, I probably caught 20 fish, 25 fish on day three. But
okay.
obviously, we don't keep track of that on day three.
Right. Now, when you're looking at this, it's like, hey, I've got to make championship Sunday. That's the goal of everybody that's fishing this thing for. It's a Super 60. I mean, if you don't make championship Sunday, it was kind of a waste. But you go into it, you've got good weight going, you're on these fish. Was there any thought at all that, you know what, I'm going to run out of fish? Or is this fishery just so good that you're just, no, there's a ton of fish and I'm on them?
Well, everybody said there was tons of fish there, and there some guys were asking me, "Did you think you burned up your areas?" I was like, "I don't have areas. I was just fishing,
Yeah.
you know." And it just like when I started practicing on day two and I found that spot, I was like, I knew I was gonna smash them on day three. Like I was that confident going into it. And day three, I was really patient. I hit my top water area first. The wind was blowing, but it wasn't as bad as day two. And I put three in the box pretty quick. And then I just went down to the point where I got the 5 pounder, didn't get anything off of that. And I was like, all right, man. It was on my mind all morning. I was like, I gotta go to that spot. And I pull up to that spot, and first cast I get a high two. Next cast I get a 4 pounder. Next cast I get a 3 3/4. The fourth or fifth cast, nothing. Next cast, another 3 pounder. It was crazy. It,
Wow.
you know,
You made
it,
so in your fourth cast, you didn't catch any fish. Were you just almost ready to give up at that point?
no, no, maybe just a small bait change. But I was changing out colors. The key bait on drop shot was a Yamamoto Shad Shape Worm.
Okay.
I went through quite a few packs of them. Green pumpkin was the color I started with, but day three ended up being natural shad
Okay.
and throwing that in there because every time you caught a fish, they were kind of puking up fry. I don't know if they're
Right.
crappie or bass fry or something, but so I was like, all right, well they're eating minnows, so I started throwing that, and they were just hitting it. Just as soon as you threw in the school of bait, and they're just sitting underneath them, you could
Hmm.
see them swimming down underneath all the fish. It was pretty amazing. But what
Now,
it ended up being, the structure was a trailer frame. If you look on Google Earth,
uh,
you can see the trailer sitting on the shoreline. It's pretty crazy. So my marshal showed me that after weigh-in. And he's like, I couldn't tell you during a tournament, but this is what you're fishing. And I guess
oh,
it's maybe a local secret or something.
well, you found it out. Nice
I
job.
found it.
It's when you're up there and you've got those fish going and you're throwing drop shots and stuff. Was this is all current? I'm guessing out there because I didn't get to see it, but I heard it was river to one side and then there is a reservoir to it also. Kind of that part of it. Were you having to step up weight wise when you were throwing this drop shot, or were you what size weights and stuff were you throwing?
Just quarter ounce the
Okay,
entire time.
just quarter ounce
Yep.
down. So
Yep.
it wasn't extreme current or anything blowing down through there.
Oh, I really didn't notice any current. It
Okay,
was wind. It was wind for me.
just wind. Okay,
Yep.
yeah, because guys, even yourself, you said, oh, you're kind of running up the river a little bit. So when I hear that, I'm thinking kind of like Delta and things, California kind of stuff, where you got a river system going into it. But I mean,
Yeah.
I get that same thing. Orville doesn't have much of a, it's got river arms, but it doesn't really have current like that. But then the reservoir, and then I don't know how that kind of set up on Brownlee like that. You've got the more the river arms, that sort of thing, and then the main reservoir. And I'm guessing that's just kind of the way it sits. I don't know if there's a couple
Yep.
arms or if there's, I didn't even get to look at it. So,
Yeah. So the way the boat launch set up, as soon as if you left the boat launch and went right, you went upriver, and
mm,
I heard it was like hazardous, like worse than the reach in the Columbia River. So
wow.
I wrote that off completely. I didn't want to run up there and like destroy my boat. So I was going to the left, which is going down in the reservoir,
Oh,
and
okay.
some guys were making 50-mile runs to the dam.
Wow.
I was fishing about 12 to 15 miles down. So I wasn't going very far. I think the first day I burned 7 gallons of gas. That's what I put in my boat when I got
Woo.
back.
Wow.
So day two, I doubled that. I burned 14 because I was running around trying to find some more stuff. But
Man, that's a good run. I mean, you're out there. That's a big body of water. If guys are running 50 miles one way, that's a big body of water.
yep. Yeah, and the interesting part, it's the border of Oregon and Idaho. So the right
Okay.
side going down the reservoir, the right side's Idaho, the left side's Oregon, and then halfway down is the Powder River. I guess decent largemouth spot, but I guess there was no largemouth to be caught, or they were difficult to catch in there or something. But
Hmm.
there was nothing really brought in that I could tell.
Yeah, I didn't get to see much of it, but it was definitely one of those bodies of water that a lot of guys hadn't talked about, a lot of guys hadn't heard about. I feel like it was probably one of the more level playing fields. I know a couple guys made it up there to, before cutoff, before they, you couldn't be on the water anymore. But for the most part, I think we always talk about, 30 days off limits with these bodies of water. But I feel like this one was even a little more level because
Oh
no,
yeah.
it sounded like not that many people had ever been there or only been there a few times, and which surprises me because that they talk about, and I mean the amount of fish they caught, the size of fish that came out of there. I mean, you had good weight all 3 days.
Yep.
It was, I'm not saying it was, 30 pounds a day, but 18 pounds, 16 pounds a day, that is some pretty good weight, to go out there and have fun with for sure. More than a 5 pound average for,
Yep.
or a 4 pound average to say that's a pretty good fishery right there. Is this something that maybe in the future with you living, Puyallup's not that far,
No,
from
not compared to
Brownlee.
some of the other guys. Yeah.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
like I feel like how far of a drive was it for you? Like 6 hours?
Yeah. 6.5. Yep.
Okay, so I mean you're not that far away from going over and checking that thing out and fishing it. Is it something you do again?
Competitive anglers powered by Mercury Pro XS outboards have won more bass fishing tournaments than all other brands combined. With lightning-quick acceleration, legendary reliability, and lightweight design, Pro XS has everything you need to travel farther, faster, and harder.
Definitely. If we went back, that'd be fun. Because the crazy part, if you're watching tournaments that happened earlier in the year, like in March, it was an Idaho Bass Masters, I think.
Yeah.
There was over 20 bags of 20 pounds.
Wow.
So that place has got them. It's just, I think the fish were just in a funky mood, maybe.
With the
Um,
weather changing and that sort of thing.
Weather and post spawn, I think they're out a lot deeper. All the
Yeah.
most of the majority of the fish I caught, I had to fizz them because they're deep.
Okay. So you were
So
finding them and they were down below the bait fish, and what was that, like 20, 25 feet?
up to 35 feet. Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. So
Yeah.
good weight, good depth there. You're catching good fish, but I mean that's now let me ask you this question because is it something that forward-facing sonar made a huge difference for you on that?
Uh, you're not traditionally scoping and throwing at the individual fish.
Right.
I would use it to set up on the structure, and then I would get my angle and I would cast, and you see the drop shot fall in the middle of the bait, and then I'd put it back on spot lock and just fish the bait back.
Okay.
So it's kind of not a traditional way of using forward facing sonar, but
So
just
yeah.
using it to line up to your casting angle is what I was using.
Okay. I mean that's a definite, people are always hypercritical of forward-facing sonar.
Oh
Just
yeah.
kind of who it is and how it is. But when you can, say, hey, you know what, you kind of use this like you would use any, traditional. Only you're not sitting right over the top of them. You're looking forward. So,
Yep.
I mean, there are definitely ways to apply it and make it right. You go out there and you get on these fish. You're catching these fish. It's a smallmouth fishery. I mean, that's got to be just fun to catch a bunch of smallmouth like that. Fishing. I know we've got the Columbia River coming up basically 2 times in a row. Are you going to fish the Pro-Am?
Definitely. Yep.
Oh yeah. So then you've got Boardman and you've got Tri-Cities right there. We got the Super 60 next. Again, I know back-to-back Super 60s was kind of cool. Going to go up to Tri-Cities, fish up that way. Everybody has said that Boardman is a really good hole. It's a great time to fish it, a great place to fish. And I got to go out there, the very first year we went up there. It was amazing. I thought that, wow, what a great place. Now we're going up to Tri-Cities, and everybody says that Tri-Cities is even better and bigger, more fish, and just overall. Are you looking forward to that one more, or are you looking forward to going back down to Boardman?
I'm looking forward to Tri-Cities.
Okay.
In 2024, I won the state championship on Tri-Cities, so
Okay.
I feel really good going there. I prefer Tri-Cities over Boardman. And I don't think you'll see the numbers that you'll see on Boardman. I think Tri-Cities has better quality fish than numbers of fish compared to Boardman.
Okay. Now, because that's another one, we're going back Super 60, so we put the format back in place where it's numbers and numbers on one side to get to the top 10 to get to Super 60 to the top 10, and then you got to go for weight. And is it again? You talked about going for weight, and if you're going to a fishery like that, you're going to be looking at weight again, right?
Yep, definitely, definitely.
Yeah. That's just your whole attitude this year. Is I'm going to go back to what I do best, and that's catch a bunch of good quality fish.
Yeah, and I'm a smallmouth guy. I
Okay.
prefer smallmouth over largemouth. I can catch largemouth, but I stepped on my own feet last year on Mojave. I've been there a couple times for the U.S. Open, and I was kind of disappointed in that tournament because I felt really good going into it being a smallmouth fishery.
And it ended up being largemouth.
I caught more largemouth than smallmouth.
Yeah,
So
it was a good fishing. I mean, it was good overall.
yeah.
That was a good body of water to fish. I always, I didn't get up there. So how clear was the water there on Brownlee?
Um, I never fished shallow enough to really tell.
Oh, okay.
I would assume it probably 6 foot visibility. I think it was pretty
Okay.
clear.
Okay.
I never got really shallow enough to see.
Yeah. It wasn't Mojave clear.
No, no, definitely not. Definitely not.
Yeah, that's the most ridiculous things I've ever seen. Those desert waters are wow. It's the only place in my life I've ever said, you know what? Because I wear Costas all the time, and it's like, yeah, no, you didn't really need glasses to see 30 feet.
Yeah.
You just see 30 feet.
Yeah, 30 feet. It's perfectly clear.
Yeah,
It's unreal down there.
absolutely crazy. But we've got those things we got those two coming up. We've got some smallmouth coming. You just took, and this is your, we talked earlier, and this is your biggest event so far that you've won. You talked about you would won a boat earlier when you were with uh I can't remember which event you said you were fishing. It was a
Limit out
limit
pro
out,
am.
the limit out pro am. That's it.
Yeah.
And it was, you're up there, you win a boat, and now you come up here and you win $50,000. Apparently, you might be happy that the Pacific Northwest Division was kind of created this year by BAM.
Yeah. It's great that they're expanding out on the West Coast. I think because our anglers are coming from all over, Washington, Oregon, Idaho, Montana, California,
Right.
Arizona. Maybe there's Nevada in there. I'm not 100% sure, but we're scattered all over. So putting a new lake every year is pretty exciting. You know,
Yeah, it should be interesting to see. I mean, there are still guys have told me, there are still bodies of water up there that they would love to go to. I said that you said Roosevelt in there. I don't know how big that body of water is, but maybe that's
huge.
one that we look at. I
Yeah,
don't
it's huge. It's the Columbia River. The Grand Coulee Dam backs it
know.
up, and that's what
Okay.
creates it. You could run 100 miles up the river, and then
Wow.
halfway up, or a little over halfway, you got the Sampoa River, and you had the Spokane River that comes in, and it's an amazing fishery.
Wow.
So I know there's that, and I know guys love to see Pend Oreille River, and I know guys love to see Coeur d'Alene.
Wow.
So yeah, some amazing lakes over on that side.
All right. Well, that's all discussions I think that Mark would love to hear and talk about the areas around him and Brownlee was one of those ones that when I kind of looked up where we were going to be staying before all everything happened with me, it's like where are we staying? What are we doing? Where are we going? Because there's not a lot up there. There was what was the name of the town? Hart no
Huntington.
Huntington. Yeah, it was like, is that I don't know how big of a town that was, but my guess was it was fairly small. Didn't sound like there was any restaurants. It sounded like they had a heck of a barbecue though at the event.
They did. They had an amazing barbecue there. Yeah, there's no red light in the town that I can remember. I think it's just stop sign. So it's a really small town. Pretty awesome. They rolled out the red carpet, like Bryant Smith said on stage.
Oh,
Just
good.
they took care of us. It was a pretty amazing. They did a great job. And the barbecue, I didn't have any because we were waiting for the drivers meeting after day two, and I'm rooming with Greg Gutierrez and Billy Hines, and we had some walleye that we caught on potholes, and Greg was making fish tacos, and that's all I could think about. I was like, I don't want to ruin my fish tacos with good barbecue. So
Oh man, you got shortchanged by Greg Gutierrez.
yeah,
What do you know?
yeah,
That's all right, man. I'm sure we'll be heading that way. We've got some, Tri Cities is a little bit bigger town than Boardman, and I'm sure it's bigger than where you were just at. And it's got some nice area right there. I've been over that, seeing it's a really really neat area. I don't know exactly which town we're staying in out of the. I mean, there's more than three, but that's
yeah.
the Tri Cities. But it is a nice little area. It's very clean, very very good looking little spot, and should be a good fish. Should be a good tournament up there. Um, going into this one, going into Boardman, how you feeling about the whole this swing? Can you repeat?
I feel really good about Tri Cities. Like I told my buddy, I was like, when I went to Brownlee, I was like, I'm winning this, and he's like, all right, man, go do it. I just smallmouth. I love smallmouth fishing. and just having the experience. I don't have the experience of Ron Mace and Justin Campbell on Tri-Cities,
Right.
but I think I can hold my own there.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we've got some, you're in the Super 60. That event's going to be absolutely fun. I always feel like the pro-ams are always a kind of a crapshoot because there's a lot of really good anglers that show up, and you don't know who's going to exactly take that fishery.
Yep.
It's just kind of there. But when you talk about the Super 60, every one of those anglers is good. So you have to
it's crazy.
You have to 100% step that game up. So to go ahead and call your shot and say you're going to win Brownlee, and now you say you're going to do it back to back. I have you on record saying that now. Well, maybe I said it for you, but it's up there. That's some confidence right there in the way you can fish and how you can do it up there. I mean, you already proved it on Brownlee that you are a heck of an angler, and you did this. You're walking out of here with you won the boat with Limit Out at the Limit Out Marine event, but you took home $50,000 in a check. It's already in the bank. The family's already looking at how we can spend that. It's a good event right there. And we talked about it a little bit ahead of time. You won the Limit Out, and you were with Limit Out, and you were driving Phoenix boat. Then you had to make a decision, switch over to Nixon Marine, who has had a sweep here in the last 3 events up there in the Pacific Northwest. His first event right there on Moses Lake, and they got the win with that one. Then you go over to Potholes, they get the win there. Now they go up there and they get you got a Camus running out there on Brownlee, and you're running that one. Nixon is doing a heck of a job up there. Willie Nelson's got a heck of a thing going on.
Yeah, we got a great team. And by the way, he's in a little slump right now, but everybody's gonna be scared about him here. But we have Ty also on our team, Ty Manarola.
Ty Manarola, who is that? I don't even. That's a weird. That's kind of a weird name to even say.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. It's amazing. I dubbed him Mr. Second Place because unfortunately he's just had that, and but you know what? It's not a bad thing to do. Aaron Martins did it for a long time, and he's one of the world's best anglers ever to ever live and ever do this thing. And he eventually popped through and got those wins. And you know what? Ty's going to do that eventually too.
Oh, 100%. He's so good.
Yeah, I mean, he's got everything going for him. He's just a quality angler, and he will be there one day. He'll be hoisting that big trophy above his head, and it could be at Tri-Cities because he's a heck of an angler.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, he's one you got to worry about that.
Oh yeah, I mean, it never ceases to amaze me. I mean, when you look at guys like Ken Maw, Greg Gutierrez, Bryant Smith, Carl Okerman. I mean, these are guys who have come out of nowhere. Not guys that come out of nowhere, but they've come out. And they are so quality all the time. You only think of Ken Maw fishing the Delta. That's what people think about. Ken Maw, California, Delta. This is that guy.
Yeah.
Goes everywhere, catches 90-some-odd fish at this event up in Brownlee, wrecking them. And, I mean, he's making top 10s. He's up there doing it. I mean, it's amazing. Bryant Smith traveling all over the place, fishing these things. Ostrander doing the same thing, traveling all over, fishing different places, fishing the Delta, but he's also so quality. You are up against some of the best in the entire West. And you know what? I always say the best in the West, but I always also say some of the best in the world. I mean, Ishman Rose in there too. You've got just big names fishing this tour, and you're up there competing with those guys in the Super 60. How did you growing up as an angler, I'm guessing you grew up as an angler. I'm making that assumption. Growing up fishing and everything, did you ever think that one day you'd be fishing at this level?
Randall and I want to talk to you real quick about choosing the right electronics mount for your bass boat.
And we know the quality and effort that Van Foster has put into this company.
So what you get is a custom fitted mount, not some mass produced universal mount for every bass boat out there.
Seat pedestal plugs, tool holders, steering wheel spacers, and battery trays are all made with the same attention to detail that Bass Boat Technologies is known for. Check them out at bassboattech.com. You'll be glad you did.
Tackle Warehouse has everything you need to get out and catch more bass. Rods for every application or technique. Over 1,000 reels to choose from. Monofilament, braid, and fluorocarbon lines. A massive selection of baits from the smallest to the largest. Exclusive baits and colors only available at Tackle Warehouse. Everything you need to build or customize your favorite lures. And of course, countless options to store it all. Tackle Warehouse. Click, save, fish.
Absolutely not. Like, to me, I feel like I'm behind the game. I grew up trout fishing, and then I got into bass, and then at 18, I joined the military, and I never fished pretty much the whole 20 years. I did 20 years, and I retired from the Air Force.
Wow.
But when I moved here into Seattle or Tacoma area in 2013, I joined a bass club, DP All Up Hog Hunters, and that just kind of got my addiction to compete in bass fishing. I didn't buy my first boat was in 2017.
Wow.
You know, I was a co-angler before that, so I'm a sponge. I'll watch YouTubes or watch bass fishing, and I just kept fishing and getting better and better and better, and just here I am. So it's been crazy. It's been a fast journey to where I'm at right now, and sometimes I feel like I'm over my head. Everybody's get these second doubts, you know, after a horrible season. You know, 2024 was one of my best seasons ever locally. Won like 9 tournaments. I won state champion, and then I roll into BAM Super 60 and just, you know, kind of get my teeth kicked in because now I'm fishing against the best on the West Coast, or like you said, the world. So you kind of get those second doubts, and a lot of people have had overwhelming amount of text messages from this win, and you know, and people are saying, he's like, now you know you belong, man. So don't ever think twice about that. So it's been pretty awesome.
I don't know who said that, but they were absolutely spot on, dude. Whenever you win these things, whenever you make that, you know, you get up there just competing on this level. You don't get invited to the Super 60. You don't get to just, you know, go out there and go, hey, I'm really good. I'm going to fish against those guys. You have to qualify. You have to make it. You have to do, you know, your career earnings got you here, and that says a lot. And now you're fishing with those guys. You should have always known you belonged here, but now you have it positive. So that's you've proven to yourself and to others that you belong here. And congratulations on putting that big target on your back.
Yeah, that's all right. You know, that tournament was so crazy though. Like everybody's like, man, you gotta be nervous. Day 3 blast off. I wasn't, just because I knew I had that good spot. I didn't get nervous until I was at the last one at the bump tank. And you know, and Jason's sitting in the hot seat, and then the typical, hey, we're going to commercial. And I'm like, oh man. So I'm sitting there kneeling, my head on the bump tank, holding my bag, and side comments from Jake Arbuckle. How you feeling, Rich? And you know, it was just crazy because I knew I had a decent bag, and I'm pretty positive I had the win when I walked up on stage. So even in the pre-interview before anybody weighed anything, you know, I felt really good, and I got tons of comments from a lot of people that are supporting me, and they're like, "We knew Rich won it. Just look how he's talking, look how he's holding himself. You know, he's smiling, and he's saying, "Oh, I caught big ones today. I felt good." So it's kind of funny, you know, driving home 6.5 hours, 19,000 phone calls from everybody. It was cool, man, and I can't wait to experience it again.
Well, it won't be that long. It's the end of this month. We'll be right back up at you know, Tri-Cities on July. What is it? July 31st, 1st and 2nd. So, you know, we'll be up there. It should be absolutely a great event. You know, you had a great job up here on Brownlee, which is you know, there were so many guys going into it. They're just talking about how tough this could be, but how quality, not quality, but the quantity of fish that were in that body of water going into it. And it was going to be a numbers game, and you turned around, stuck with your, you know, your game plan, and got the weight down. I think it's, I think it just says a lot when you stick to a game plan and it actually works out. And yeah, I'm sure people were looking at you going, you know what, he knows he's got this thing. But when you're facing all those guys and somebody walks up, drops a big numbers and that sort of thing, was there anybody that dropped something on there at stage and you went, uh-oh?
Well, Jason, when he dropped 1733 on the third day,
Yeah.
you know, because there was 3 18-pound bags, and 2 of them were mine.
Yeah.
And then there was only 2 or 3 17-pound bags out of the 3 days.
Right.
So there weren't big bags coming. Like day 1, there's 2 18s and then a bunch of 16s. So when he dropped 17, I was thinking, uh-oh, but I was like, I know I'm right there, if not a pound more. So, you know, he was like going into it. I think he was like the only one that I thought I was going to have issues with.
Okay.
And hometown favorite. Everybody's rooting for him, you know, and it's surreal. It's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, You know, but you're standing back there going, okay, 17. I think let me count. Let me do the numbers. I think
I take
it
my
might. I
shoes
might.
off so I can count on
Yeah,
my toes.
exactly. It's like I might still have this. I might still have this. But
Yeah.
it's good fishing. And let's talk a little bit about you are a smallmouth guy. Self-admitted that you are a smallmouth guy. You like fishing that way. And when you grow up in that area, I mean, the fisheries up there are just full of such nice smallmouth. It's crazy. But we're gonna be. We went to Brownlee. You did great up there. Won up there. Did that whole thing. Drop shots and top water. Now we're gonna switch it up to twin. The Tri City. I keep wanting to call it Twin Cities. It's the Tri Cities up there. You're gonna be up there. Are you changing up a lot, or is it gonna be kind of the same format going at it, or is this a totally different fishery and you're changing up a bunch of things?
No, it's very similar. Still, depend on weather. So top water, spinner bait, drop shot, Ron Mace's favorite, wacky rig Senko. It's gonna be that swim baits. So it's gonna be really fun. And there's giant largemouth in there. There's like 7, 8, 9 pound largemouth in there.
Wow.
So you're gonna see some big fish come to the scale.
Okay. I mean, I'm going to take your word for that one, and if I don't, I'm calling you out on it.
All right,
But
deal.
but it's one of those, I look at that body of water, and I don't think largemouth, I think smallmouth, and I couldn't believe when I got to fish it. It was like, wow, there was a lot of smallmouth, and they were all in packs of like 4, 5, 6 pounders. It was like, wow, that is
Yeah.
crazy.
Yep.
And to think the Tri-Cities is going to be even better of a fishery with bigger size, maybe less fish, but bigger size. You're right. It should be a good thing, but you're going to pretty much stick with the same
Yep.
stuff and go at it. So,
Yep.
do you change anything color wise and that sort of thing for the river?
I don't.
Okay.
Nope.
So you're just green pumpkins and shads.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
I mean,
Definitely.
well, thanks for not breaking anything down here. Oh, that's
Yeah.
that's
I can't give up too many secrets.
hey, this won't air till this Wednesday. So
Yeah, exactly. Maybe people will forget about it by the
right,
31st.
exactly. They won't. What did he say? Oh yeah, that's right. Oh, that's right. They can always bring it
Yeah.
back up.
Yeah.
But hey,
There's,
you know what? It's those guys are going up there, and a lot of them are going to be doing that. Do you think? Are you now? Ron kind of went and fished a little shallow when he won his event. How do you think that's going to play out? Is this going to be a shallow bite? I mean, how I don't know what the comparison is between Brownlee out there and the Columbia River. Is it going to be one of those things where those fish are spawning on the Columbia River right now, or is that over and done with, and they're going to be post spawn completely? And how are you going to that sort of thing?
I think there's still gonna be some largemouth spawning.
Okay.
We did a pro-am there many years ago,
Hmm.
and I was a co-angler, and I was with Bill O'Shin,
Okay.
and he had largemouth on beds, and it was July 31st.
Wow.
So I think there's a really good possibility that some guys could find. Well, you can't practice, so you're gonna have to
Right.
come across them.
Yeah. Let's not listen. You talk about not giving away secrets. Yeah, we all practice for no. It's one of
Yeah.
those things. Yeah, like you said, it's day one, and I mean, I think the way that you kind of approach it is the way a lot of guys do too. Is go out there and it's like day one, put either as many numbers as they can, fish in the boat as they can, and or wait, and then kind of look around, like pre-fish for the next couple days, and seeing it's like, okay, so what can I do now to make it, past cut day and into championship Sunday, and I think that's the way that a lot of guys approach it. But I think Ron was really shocking a lot of people fishing in inches of water. I mean, those fish, are what 8, 9 inches tall, and he was fishing in 10 inches of water.
Exactly. Yeah. It's unreal how he
Yeah.
did that. But
Yeah, it's surprising. Is there any one thing that's a bait that up there that really does do pretty well? If it turns on, it's a really cool bait to fish up there. Frog, Zara spook, things like that.
yeah, just walking topwater bait.
Okay.
It's so much fun. And that's what Brownlee was. It was just the topwater bites. My Marshall on day 3, I was fishing and I started getting blow ups. And he's got the video. He said he's going to send it to me. So hopefully I can get that over to the media crew and we can get that tip for the TV show. But they were blowing the topwater bait out of the water. It was going up like 5 feet in the air, and the fish are jumping out of the water. And he's like, "Man, I was zoomed in when that happened. It looks amazing." So I can't wait to get the videos and see it. But
Yeah, that'd be
Yeah,
very
so
cool.
that's how Tri-Cities is. They're gonna be hitting that stuff really good. And I think summer pattern, smallmouth. It's gonna be a fun tournament.
All right. Well, we talk about this, and it's the end, towards the end of the show here. And I told you before, we kind of give you a little bit of time. Rich is a guy you can follow. I'm hoping he's got his all of his social media game going, got his how you can follow him, how you can watch him. But this is the kind of time of the show when I go, Rich, tell everybody a little bit about who Rich Craft is and how you got here, and thank your sponsors, and let anybody else out there know that thanks for helping me out and getting this win.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate the time on this. I already talked about, was military for 20 years and retired. I was a boom operator, so I did in-flight refueling. So I pumped gas to other jets in the air, and I controlled the boom. I flew it into the other airplane, and so now when I retired, I got hired by Boeing, and I do the same exact thing for Boeing.
Wow.
So I fly like first flights out of the factory, and we test the airplane out before we deliver it to the United States Air Force. So that's kind of what I do day to day when I'm not fishing. They help pay for this hobby of mine, because if you want to be a professional bass fishing and make $1 million, you got to start with 2 million.
Right.
It's an expensive sport. So first off, yeah, I want to thank Willie at Nixon's Marine bringing me on last year. This is really expensive, and when I joined the Super 60 and saw the entry fees, I was like, oh wow, I'm gonna have to get some help. So he brought me on and set me up with a Camus, and the Camus it's an amazing boat. It has some speed issues compared to like a Bath Cat, but it's a 70-mile-an-hour boat, and just the fishability is incredible. And then, oh, by the way, they have the greatest boat contingency that's out there. Some guys try to compare it, but nobody compares to it. Everybody's got limitations on how much money you can win, how many years you can win it. So Camus Cash, if you're the highest placing Camus and it's a silver or platinum, no, not a silver. If it's a platinum event, it's $2,500 for highest placing finisher. You can be 68th and you beat the guy in 69th, and you get $2,500. And then if you get lucky to win a thing, you get $10,000. And $10,000 is the first 3 years that you own a boat. The $2,500 is the life of the boat that when you own it. So there's no limitation. Some limit you on how many you can win per year. Camus, you can win as many as you want.
Hmm.
So it's an incredible one. And this year I've won 17,500. Last year I won 5,000. So it's an amazing contingency. And I'm glad people don't have a lot of them, because it makes it a little bit easier on me. And I hate promoting it, but that's my job, is to promote them, and I think Willie's going to be selling. I think he's got 2 Camuses left, maybe 3. I think they're going to be selling fast, because lots of guys were like, I'm getting a Camus. I'm taking advantage of that Camus cash. So, and then, the boat I got is powered by Mercury. I think I love Mercury's. I've had 3 or 4 now. So,
Okay.
what's next? Toyota Puyallup. Having a non-endemic sponsor is really hard to get, and I kind of just talked to them, and they were nervous and never been involved. They're a really small dealership, and they opened arms, and we had an amazing deal with them this year, and hopefully we can extend the deal for next year. But they helped me a lot, and I'm so glad that they're with me. And I get to go down there Thursday and get some pictures with the whole team down there, so it's going to be really cool with that 70-pound giant trophy that I won. Then Live Fishing, and Boat Drip Live Fishing makes a lot of fishing products with tackle and things to protect your rods and reels and shirts and stuff like that. So Matt at Live Fishing, again, another huge financial support for me. And Boat Drip, he owns part of that with Austin, and I got to thank those guys a lot. It's really hard to do this without financial support from those guys. And then my last sponsor, GSM. So I'm with Yamamoto, Dobbins, RoboWorm, Bill Lewis, Buckeye, and Frog Factory, and that came huge for this tournament. All my Dobbins rods that I used to fish, and then Yamamoto Shad Shape Worm. And then the very last big fish I caught on day 3 was a RoboWorm 6-inch Texas tilapia straight tail. And that put me up where I think that fish won the tournament. And my marshal's like, because I wasn't catching anything, and then I went back to the boat, grabbed that pack of worms, first cast, a 3 3/4. And he's like, "Why'd you do that?" And I was like, "It was a gut feeling, man. I had to do it." He's like, "That's crazy." So that's why I have notes written down. I was like, just go with your gut when you're fishing. Be flexible. Don't get stuck to a plan. I had tons of waypoints all over Google Earth, and I kind of abandoned it and just, fish by my gut. So that's about it. And I think the coolest thing, I qualified for Ultimate Angler, and now I'm going to Gunnersville the end of September.
Nice.
So I'm excited for that too. So
yeah, that's come up a few times now that this Ultimate Angler is going on, and I think a couple guys have qualified for it now in the last couple events. So that's going to be very cool. Hopefully, the West Coast can be represented very well. And
yeah,
apparently, with the caliber of anglers we're sending, yourself very much included in that, it should be represented really well. So I like that.
I think we got Ty Al, and Carl Okerman.
Hey, Northern California bass anglers. Ready to elevate your fishing game? Ford Fairfield partners with Bass Angler Magazine to offer top-notch trucks tailored for your needs. Our simple pricing ensures a fair deal and exceptional service. We live and breathe bass fishing, participating in local tournaments to understand exactly what you need so you never miss a good bite. Visit Ford Fairfield today and let's hit the water together.
Yeah, I think both those guys made it, and they're both very good anglers. Man. Now, is there anybody home? I don't know. I don't even know that much about that part of your life, the home life. You married, or you kids,
I am.
or
My wife says, don't ever talk about me on those things, because she's just, yeah. So we're gonna,
right.
My wife is Heather. We've been married 21 years.
Okay.
Met her when I was deployed. We were both deployed to South Korea.
Okay.
With the Air Force. That's where I met her, and kind of things worked out. So like I said, 21 years, got 2 kids. My daughter, Kaylin, she's 16, and my son, Tanner, he's 9, and he's finally getting the fishing bug. You kind of abandon it for a while, and you don't want to force things on your kids, so you just want to let them pick their path. So
right.
He's starting to get the itch, and he saw me throwing a frog, and he's like, Dad, can I throw a frog? And I was like, yeah, we'll go to Potholes and throw a frog in July. So
nice.
But so just 2 kids, and we got a zoo. So we got like 3 birds, I think, a dog, 2 lizards, a snake. Yeah, we have a zoo.
I like it.
So
and you know me well enough to know that Heather's hosed now.
It's all right.
I'm going to make sure that every time you're on stage, it's make sure you tell Heather hi.
Okay. I did it a couple times, on stage this weekend. So
good, because now it's coming. That's why I love being up there, bringing the families out and that sort of thing is 100% one of the greatest parts of this job that I do on this thing, and I love doing it, and I love seeing them when they show up. And I don't know if they were able to come out, or if have they been out to any of the events and seen.
They haven't, because they're in Spokane this weekend for Hoop Fest.
Okay.
Some basketball thing, and so they're at that, so they kind of missed it. But
basketball is for the devil.
Oh. Yeah, I'm not a basketball person. I'm not coordinated enough to play that sport, so that's why I stuck to fishing.
Nice.
Yeah, but I made her watch the whole day 3 weigh-in this morning. I was like, you have to watch it. So, and she did, and she was smiling. So,
well, that's good, man. They should be. The families are there; they're supportive, and that's great to see. And that's, this was a good event for you, a great event for you, winning this whole thing, taking home $50,000 instead of just some old boat, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But hey, you Rich. Thank you for doing the show, man. We really do appreciate it. Congratulations again, man. I'm so glad that you could come up and do this. I will take it to heart if you don't win at Tri-Cities now, because you said you were going to do it.
First goal, you got to get in the top 10.
There you go.
So.
You got to make it past the most feared day in all of bass fishing, cut day, to make it to the championship Sunday. And that's what I want to see, man. I know you can do it. I know you guys can be there. I always love seeing who's going to make that top 10. And it's, it was a good deal to watch you up there. Great to see you finally win one up here. I wish I could have been there for it, but I will be at Tri-Cities, and let's see how you can do it. And we'll be over there at the Columbia River right there in Boardman, Oregon after that, and that should be a great event too. So everybody, thanks for tuning in and listening to the show. This is our first one back since I went down a little bit, but hey, it was a great show. We got Rich Kraft on here, got him talking about his win on Brownlee. Thanks for tuning in. And again, if you didn't get anything, go back and listen. Rich gave up some great stuff. Rich, thanks again, man, and we will see you very soon up at Tri-Cities.
All right. Thank you, Big Ed.